What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Nick and Mike, nothing but Niners, man. Guys, here to talk about the 49ers Packers Monday Night Football game. Mike, what's going on, man?
Same shit, different day, man. The game went kind of how I expected it to go. We expected a close one. We expected a loss. But I'll tell you, man, this one hurt a little bit more. It actually got my hopes up. I've never expected things to go exactly how I expected it to go and still feel this bad. But alas, here we are.
Bro, this game literally made my stomach hurt. Like, I understand that I said for the Niners to lose 28-24, but when we were playing and we were in the game as well as we were, it just hurts because it was just like, to me, I already said to you, there's three reasons that we lost this game. One, the last drive was CJ Beathard throwing that football. Two, Greg Maben just killing us on Devontae Adams. Even one time Richard Sherman went up to him, pulled him off of Adams. The play that I think that was the play that Sherman got called on. But if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get sacked there, bro, that flag never comes out. So I don't know, man. It's fucking – oh, sorry about the language. But, dude, I'm just so aggravated. Like, I haven't been this mad at a game since the Super Bowl.
I understand that. But before we keep going, guys, make sure you check out the website, www.nothingbutniners.com. Hit us up on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud for the podcast and all that stuff. Hit us up on social media. The Twitter handle and the Snapchat are Nothing But Nine ERS. You guys can find us there. We're very interactive. You can also hit us up on Facebook as well as on Instagram, and those handles are Nothing But Niners. Nick, I'm not blaming this on the refs, man. I know you didn't like that call at the end, but Richard Sherman can't hold. We're 49er fans. We've watched Richard Sherman hold his entire career. They called it
wasn't a hold, though. It was just a pullback within 5 yards.
He got him, bro.
That call was not called the entire night. Ronald Blair, on the last sack that he got, when he was literally bear hugged by one arm, and there was still no penalty flag. That happened 3 or 4 times tonight in the pocket.
Listen, I saw plenty of holding by the Packers offensive line. They're not calling it. They're not calling it. At least they were consistent. The refs were consistent as shit tonight. Like, here's why I think we lost the game.
Consistent? They threw one flag on the Packers.
What are you? The Packers had like 5 penalties in the first half, bro.
No, I'm saying on crucial downs. Like,
it doesn't matter about crucial downs. It's about what happens with it when they call them. Okay. They're either calling plays or they're not. The refs didn't dictate this game. The reason we lost this game is because Jimmy Ward got injured again. He pulled a fucking hamstring, and then here comes Maben, and he got targeted that entire last drive. The reason we got injured is because we were in the shadow of their end zone, and we had to play conservative on that one drive. Well, the reason we lost this game is because of that, because of Maben, and because on the other penalty, the other drive that we had where we went 3 and out, we should have been a little bit more aggressive. It was run, and then pass on 3rd down. We didn't have to play like that. We weren't in the shadow of the goal line. It's not cool. It's like I don't blame Kyle Shanahan for play calls. I saw someone, Brian, who's a big supporter of ours. He tried to say, "Oh, that play, that deep shot where it was intercepted to Goodwin, that was a bad thing. That was something that Shanahan has done in the playoffs, and he's done it in the Super Bowl, and he did it in Cleveland. He's never going to learn, and he's not the right guy for it." That's not how it works. Shanahan called a really good game. You put up 30 points on the road, you should win that game. You should win a game on the road if you put up 30 points in someone else's house. The reason you don't win is because of your defense. And what did your defense do? That opening play, the first 2 drives that they had, the end of the game where didn't they start on like the 10-yard line and just march down the field to win the game on us?
Yeah, they went to Maben like pretty much every single play. I just tweeted this out. I said not only did the Niners lose, but I lost fantasy too because that last drive of Devontae Adams killed me. Like, it killed me.
Yeah.
But look, the play call, I'm not against the play call, but the way the ball was thrown, he's got a lead Goodwin with that. Like, he can't just loft the pass up.
Well, we also have to acknowledge there was a ton of pressure in his face. So that's why he didn't step into that throw at all. He threw that with pressure like on him right away. If it weren't for the pressure, he would have been able to get that ball off and make a better pass there. But there was a ton of pressure on him.
Understandable. But there were also times tonight where CJ Beathard created his own pressure and rolls out to the strong side, knowing that you know what the strong side of the defense is right now, and you're going to roll that way. So that was on CJ too. Like, CJ had some very good ups tonight.
A different play. You're talking about a different play. You're not talking about the same play where he threw it to Marquise Goodwin.
No.
You're talking about the sack that he took on third down. He created the pressure. He just started running from nobody, and then he ran into the arms of Clay Matthews. It was horrible, man. Like, I don't know, man. It's like the team plays well, they stay in it, they stay competitive, and then when the pressure's on, this team folds like a cloth. And that's the exact reason why I picked this team to lose this game. It's not because I didn't think we had the right players. It's not because I don't believe in CJ Beathard or even Raheem Mostert, or even Matt Breida coming back. You know what I mean? It's not any of that. It's not that I don't believe in Shanahan's play calling. It's that this team has yet to put together a full 4 quarters of football on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And until we see that happen, we shouldn't expect this 49ers team to win another game. That's just how it is. That's how we can hang in there. We can play 59 solid minutes, but that last 60 seconds, it's going to kill us. We saw it tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree on that point, but I mean, there's 2 ways to look at that play tonight with CJ Beathard. Was it the right play call? Was it the wrong play call? Did CJ not throw it right? Did he not have time to throw it? Did he have too much pressure? It all comes down to, we should have ran the ball and ran another 30 seconds off the clock. But it was third down, right? Yeah, third down. So you have to go for the first down. But the problem is it was just kind of like CJ kind of like, even before the pressure was past the line of scrimmage, he kind of just took a 3-step drop and just threw off his back foot. Like, I just didn't get that. Like, I mean, I'm just so fucking aggravated right now.
It's crazy. It's like, crazy, man. It's frustrating, but guys, man, like, what are we supposed to do? Are we really supposed to beat the Packers in Lambeau?
But that's the thing, Mike. We had them beat. We didn't just lose this game on that last drive. We lost this game on the last 2-3 drives when penalties weren't going our way. I mean, I totally disagree with you on this. There was at least 3 to 4 sacks that we could have had in those last 3 drives that weren't called. There was 2 intentional groundings that weren't called. The sack on Rodgers, and then you finally throw out a defensive holding. Well, actually, it was, what was it, unintentional conduct or contact on Sherman. It wasn't even a hold.
Illegal contact, yeah.
Yeah. So illegal contact, it wasn't even a hold, which he was within 5 yards. He was making the route. He just basically shoved him out of the way. Now, do I know Sherman holds? Absolutely.
I was going to say, like, we cannot pretend like Sherman doesn't hold. And I can't say for sure that he was within 5 yards. That play seemed like it was a little bit more down the field than that.
I just don't understand how you didn't see the same. Bro, Ronald Blair was held so much tonight in crucial third downs. And instead he gets the ball off because a holding call wasn't called, or he's forced out of the pocket on that long run that Rodgers had to get into field goal range on driving to tie the game when he ran 30 yards. Ronald Blair was held. Buckner was held. Clear as day. Wrapped up like being held. That's a third down.
How many holding calls did you see the refs make on the offense today?
On which offense?
On either offense. There were none, bro. They were letting them play, man. Like, it's one thing if they were only calling it on us. They were letting them play. That's why I'm saying you can't blame the refs. The refs did a good job of keeping the flags in their pockets for most of the game, man. And I can't prove it. I don't have the stats here in front of me, but I am pretty sure the 49ers had less penalties than the Packers this game. We can't blame this on the refs. The fact of the matter is the 49ers can't play a full game, bro. Whether it's defense, whether it's the offense isn't aggressive enough.
How would you feel if you were getting toasted because you're a 1-4 team playing a Packers who are going to go to 2-4?
We didn't lose this game because of our record. What are you talking about?
Would you listen to me? You're telling me that refereeing had nothing to do with us losing this game? Nothing.
No, okay. It did not.
Refereeing. I'm not even going to argue with you because you definitely didn't watch the same game I did.
Okay, I guess I was watching a Steelers game because I didn't see refereeing being an issue. If it weren't for that Sherman play, you'd be saying, "Oh, it was a great game. It was a great game, bro." He made illegal contact. That Sherman play is the only thing that influenced any portion of this game because it allowed them to continue going after they messed up on the third down. That went from a sack and a punt to them having a first down 5 yards more down the field. We still had plenty of opportunities to stop them. You can't blame the refs for that. We still had 35 yards to stop them from getting in scoring range. That's not on the refs.
I completely agree. But what I'm saying to you as a player, when things are handed to you like that, that's in your head. Maben played horrible. He's one of the reasons we lost. I'm not saying that it was just penalties, but penalties played a big factor in why we lost this game. Not from our own calls, but if that sack doesn't happen right there, that penalty ain't thrown on Richard Sherman. If Rodgers gets out of that pocket and it's not a sack and he loses 4 or 5 yards, they don't call that penalty. Or he gains 4 or 5 yards, they don't call that penalty. You think they do?
I have no idea. I can't tell you a hypothetical of what they would and wouldn't call. All I know is that the freaking refs weren't a major factor in this game. They weren't.
Well, I disagree with you that they weren't a major factor, but I agree with you that they aren't the only reason we lost.
How many penalties did we have this game?
Did we? Or how many was there total?
No. How many penalties did the 49ers have versus the Packers?
I'll tell you in a second.
Because I can't find this anywhere right now for whatever stupid freaking reason. I've been trying to look it up the entire time you're talking, and 49ers.com, the computer site, doesn't have it. So I can't do it, and I'm using my phone for this video, so I can't look it up on the app either. But I can almost guarantee you the Packers had way more penalties than us tonight. You just can't blame it. The Packers had false starts and offensive holdings and like just a whole bunch of dumb stuff. They pushed someone out of bounds when they didn't have to. It was just a lot of unnecessary stuff. This game went the way for the 49ers more often than not.
Bro, they had 6 penalties. That's it.
Oh, and how many do we have?
2.
Oh, that's 3 times as many penalties for them. Mm-hmm. You can't blame the refs for us losing this game, bro. We had 2 penalties. Come on, man.
They were 4 for 13 on fucking third downs.
We dominated another game as far as I'm not going to say dominated. That's absolutely the wrong word. But when we lost Jimmy Ward, there's a big reason for that. Jimmy Ward pulling his hamstring is definitely a reason why we lost this game because then they put Greg Maben in, not Akello Witherspoon.
Why wasn't Akello out there?
I can't speak for that. I have nothing to do with that. I'm just telling you what happened. Jimmy Ward hurt his hamstring. They put him on the sideline. Then they put in Maben. Maben was the target for that entire last drive. And it worked. If I'm the Niners and I see that they're targeting my one guy like that over and over, I'm calling a timeout and I'm putting someone else in. Put Akello back in there.
Akello didn't take a snap the entire game.
Bro, he's in the doghouse for some reason. I don't run this, man. But that's my point. This is on Saleh. This isn't on Kyle Shanahan. Now it's not on Saleh. Here you go. I swear to God, you just love to argue. Why isn't this on Saleh? Tell me why this isn't on Saleh, Nick.
Because that's all you guys ever look to blame is Saleh. Like
I said it's on Greg Maben. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I named some players.
Who else are you putting in there at corner if Akello's not playing? Who else are you putting in there?
I literally just said Witherspoon. He was healthy. We could have put him in instead of Maben. That decision is solely on Robert Saleh.
True.
So who else you blaming for it? When you see your guy is getting targeted an entire drive, you got 2 timeouts still. You're not going to use one and substitute him?
Actually, at that time, you had 3.
That's even worse. So who's it on? Who's at fault then? If you're not going to blame Saleh for that, who are you blaming? Nick, we could have won this game if not for that entire last drive. We could have even taken to overtime for the second to last drive. We could have won. The last drive, we could have ended up at least in overtime. They didn't use the timeouts. They didn't take Maben out the game when it was clear that Rodgers was targeting him. Who does that fall on?
Coaching.
Saleh. Because our head coach has nothing to do with the defense. That's on Saleh.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you realize we gave up one first down to penalty? Hold on. 1 first down to Green Bay over penalties. 1. And guess which one that was?
Sherman's?
1.
And that's great. That means that the refs did a good job calling this game. That's great.
My point exactly. They call it in the most crucial time when something good happened for the Niners and the Packers were going to lose.
You can't cry bias and all that shit if it only happened one time in the entire game. You think the 49ers played a flawless game on defense? Absolutely not, bro.
No.
You can't sit there and pretend like one call because it didn't happen at the time you wanted it to happen means the refs threw the game for the 49ers.
I can't even argue with you anymore.
Because I'm making a good fucking point. That's why you can't argue with it.
No. I can't argue with you because you're not seeing my point. You're just listening to your point and going on with it. That's it.
I see what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
No, you obviously don't because you just keep saying no. That has nothing to do with it.
I disagree with that. I disagree with you trying to say that the refs had a bias and threw a flag at an inopportune time for the 49ers. That's BS, Nick.
Did you hear what I said? That the flags were not the only reason we lost this game, but they were a big factor.
You're the one who keeps coming back to the flag, bro. You're talking about one penalty on
one to give a first down in the most crucial time.
So it didn't put them in scoring position. We still had opportunities on defense to stop them.
It put them right in
field goal. So what? It was a 5-yard penalty, bro. So what?
Okay.
You keep talking about it like it put them in field goal range.
Okay, let's move on. What were the positives tonight?
C.J. Beathard, he played a good game. It was really good to see Raheem Mostert bounce back and not fumble the ball and have a decent game. I thought Marquise Goodwin being out there dictating the defensive coverage was an amazing thing to see. Kendrick Bourne's biggest play tonight was a result of Marquise Goodwin having an influence on the defense. He demanded double coverage. When the safety bit down on Marquise, it allowed Goodwin to get it allowed Bourne to get open and have a successful slant play. He almost got in the end zone on that play. I mean, it was good. And there was a lot of positives tonight in this game. Some negative things, DJ Reed in the return game fumbling down there and giving them a good field position. You know what I mean? There was a lot of positives, there was a lot of negatives. And Robert Saleh and this defense, they come up with a lot of things that work at times, but then when they don't work, it stands out like a sore thumb. So, for example, we saw on their fourth down drive when they were in scoring position, by their end zone, on their fourth down play, we saw Ronald Blair not pursue the quarterback, but he dropped back in coverage, and he was out there helping the safety on Devontae Adams, their number one wide receiver in this game. Had that play not worked, we would have been screaming and throwing everything at the fan. Why was he out there covering Devontae Adams or helping? He wasn't covering him. There was someone else covering him, but Adams shifted towards him, and that was part of his shared responsibility. We would have been killing him for that, But you step back and you look at another play in the same exact game where Reuben Foster was covering their number one wide receiver. Why was that happening? And that was a huge game, and that ended up with them scoring in that drive. So, Robert Saleh, he decides to take these gambles that some people see as unnecessary. Some people think that it's cool. I like the scheme. I like a lot of what Robert Saleh does. I would say, if I had to put a percentage on it, 95% of what Robert Saleh does I really like. But bro, like he lineman in coverage. All right, down there in the red zone like that, we were inside the 10. We were inside. It was a goal line play. I don't mind that because you don't expect your lineman to drop 15, 20 yards. That's fine with me. You know, down there in that close proximity, I'm okay with that. But having Reuben Foster covering Devontae Adams, that's a mismatch all day. And with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna take that mismatch. It happened one time the entire game, and it was a big gain for them. It never happened again. Show me that you have the ability to adjust. But I just don't like how we ended the game with seeing Maben being targeted. He was clearly the target for that entire last drive, and we did nothing to stop it. I get it. They didn't make any substitutions because they were in the quick hurry up, but we had timeouts. We could have stopped the clock and made our own substitutions. Take Maben out if he can't do it. You know what I mean? And I like something else that happened, right? We're sitting here complaining about the Richard Sherman play and how he was on Adams that one play and he got called for the illegal contact, right? But that was the negative side of it. Here's the positive of it. Richard Sherman saw that Devontae Adams was going off on the Niners, and he was like, you know what? Fuck that. I know what the play call is. I got him. That's my man. That's leadership. That's what this team is missing. That showed excellent leadership. Nobody else is going to talk about that. You're not going to hear.
You literally pulled Maben out and told him to go.
Yeah, get someone else. Go get on Valdez Starching or whatever the hell his name is. He absolutely directed him somewhere else. No one else is going to talk about that. That's leadership. It backfired on us because of that holding play or the illegal contact, but he saw what was happening, and since the coaches weren't going to do something about it, Richard Sherman on the field did something about it. If the players can see it, why can't Saleh see it?
All right, so Richard Sherman said tonight, he defended Robert Saleh, and he said he blamed the players for failing on their assignments. At the end of the day, if you call the perfect call and they don't run the play the way you called it, what else can you do? That's a player calling the players out right there.
Yeah, but Richard Sherman's going to defend. Listen, there's two sides to this coin. Hear me out. Just hear me out before you start throwing your hands up and huffing and puffing. There's two sides to this coin. I literally just gave you an example of Richard Sherman on the field overriding Robert Saleh and saying, look, they're going to go to Adams. Let me take him. So even though Richard Sherman is saying he called the perfect game, because that's his defensive coordinator, he's going to defend him. I get that. I understand that. And like I said, I like 95% of what Saleh does. But Richard Sherman also showed us with his actions that Robert Saleh isn't perfect and that some things can change. I agree with if you call the perfect play and your players don't execute, that's not on the play caller. I get that. I agree with that. But Richard Sherman's actions on the field showed us that even he doesn't agree with everything Robert Saleh says and does. The quote was great. It's excellent because think about this. All the missed tackle, if you take away every missed tackle the 49ers had all year long, even through the first all season, we're probably, 2 or 3 wins more now than what we are right now? We got a lot more sacks. We got a lot more tackles for loss. We've seen these players be in position to make plays. So I understand what Richard Sherman is saying. That's why I said I like so much of what Saleh says. I like so much of the play calling. But Richard Sherman showed us tonight in live action. We all saw him saying, I got him. Someone get over here and get this guy. We saw it happening on the final 2 drives for the Packers. He can sit there and give us lip service and say, my defensive coordinator called an excellent game. There were perfect play calls, but the players didn't execute. Then why are you changing shit on the field, Sherman?
Right.
Because he knows it wasn't perfect. That's all I'm saying, bro. It's both sides to it.
No, I agree to a point. So overall, we think the Niners look better tonight, right?
On offense, yes.
Oh, you
on
don't
defense,
think they look better on defense?
Better. Listen to me before the answer is no. The answer is no, but it's for a reason. All right. I've seen this defense put together a good half. I've seen this defense come out and shut the Lions out, or no, hold them to a field goal in the second half. I've seen not a field goal, The first half, they destroyed the Lions. Second half, they gave up a lot to the Lions. In the Chiefs game, it was when they held them to a field goal in the second half. I've seen this defense play 2 good quarters. They did that again today. It was the second quarter and the third quarter. The first and the fourth was where we struggled. So I can't say that the defense improved. They haven't put it all together yet for a full game. They're still playing 2 quarters at a time. And until they do that, we're going to continue to see the same exact results.
No, okay. So I agree with the second and the third quarter, but I also agree that overall there was a lot more to be thankful for tonight. AKA Ronald Blair, AKA pass rush, AKA tackling. The only really bad thing I seen on defense tonight was Craig Maben. I mean, truthfully, and the first blown coverage on Jimmy Ward. Total blown coverage.
Jimmy Ward and Colbert. Colbert, man, first play of the game, Colbert's got to get his head in it. That's 2 games in a row. On the first offensive play by our opponent, Colbert's just completely out of position.
Needs to eat his Wheaties or something because I don't know, man.
But,
I can't keep defending him.
There's other negatives, man. The turnovers are a freaking problem. We don't generate any. We can't give up turnovers on kickoff returns. What do we have? 2 turnovers tonight?
3.
There was 3?
3 turnovers.
There was the interception towards the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
There was the kickoff return that Reed fumbled and then ended up getting benched for. What was the third one?
There was another fumble.
Mostert didn't fumble tonight, did he? That was last week, right?
No, that was last week.
And by the way, what's up with Morris only getting 1 carry?
Because he's booty. They went with speed tonight.
Yeah, like they really didn't want to do the power game. But you would think that Morris. Remember when we were in the shadow of their end zone?
That was the other one. Juice fumbled. Remember on the one catch and then the turn?
Yes. On the pass play. Yeah. You're right.
Which was a big chunk play too.
Yeah. It was absolutely juice. Yeah, you guys are right. But remember when we were in the shadow of their goal line? It was our second to last drive or our third to last drive. And it was like we got the ball like inside their 10-yard line. And we're trying to run down the field. That's the time you use Morris. I don't understand what we were doing. Like, why do we outsmart ourselves and go with the thin finesse guys up the middle instead of Alfred Morris, the bruiser? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Because I think overall we were trying to get the creases of speed. Because the only playmaker on their team really was Clay Matthews, which we put him into some coverage busts to where we could, like the Pierre Garçon's screen, because he's not an open field tackler. He's more of a get in the hole type tackler.
There's a reason his snaps were limited tonight.
The other thing that killed us tonight was CJ was batted balls at the line of scrimmage.
He had 3 batted passes.
The same dude.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
The same guy had 3 batted passes.
Yeah, Perry. Yeah, it was like every time he threw toward Perry, it was a batted pass. There was also some drop passes tonight. I was doing some math on last week's game, and if the players hadn't dropped the passes that they did last week, CJ Beathard would have completed over 75% of his passes. I saw 3 drop passes tonight, and I missed a lot of the game because my streaming service was all fucked up over here. Like I was fighting with it. It's over here screaming and everything. But I missed a lot of it. But I remember seeing 3 drop passes tonight. He completed 16 of 23. If you're telling me that if they had caught those, let me ask you this question, Nick. Let's change it up a little bit. There was a big play on 3rd down to George Kittle. It was a high pass. He goes up to catch it off of both of his hands, not fingertips, hands. Who is that on? Is that CJ's fault or is that Kittle's fault?
I'm not getting
just so you know. No. Just so you know, whatever you say, I'm going to disagree with you just for fun.
Whatever I say, you disagree with.
Just for fun, I'm going to disagree with you. Who was it, bro? Oh, I think Nick is choking. So you go do what you got to do, man. But that play was something else, man. I saw that play and immediately I was like, "Oh, Kittle, you got to catch that." And then I go back and I look at how far he was extended, and I was like, "Damn, that was on CJ. You got to get that down a little bit. He was wide open. That was a chain mover. I think that was in the third quarter too when that happened. I don't think it was. If it was the fourth quarter, it was early in the fourth quarter. But man, that was a crazy play.
Yeah,
Who
I'm
you
not
putting
even
in
going to say anything on that because I knew you. As soon as that play happened, I knew that was going to be a question.
Just pick one. I'll pick the other guy, and I'll defend him.
I'm gonna pick CJ.
All right, then I think it was Kittle's fault. Then
I hear you.
Kittle, the ball touched both of his hands. You got to come down with that ball, bro. Yo, I think Nick. Yo, go get something to drink, man. Yeah, you're over there dying, bro. Go get something to drink. I'll talk for some. But guys, listen, man. Regardless of whose fault it was, I know a lot of 49er fans are upset. But listen, man, you guys got to remember a lot of stuff has happened to this team, man. We're down a lot of people. We're a lot of injuries. We don't have our franchise quarterback. We don't have the big free agent that we acquired and Jerick McKinnon. This team is battling, guys. There is no reason to expect the 49ers to go into Lambeau. We're traveling, guys. There's no reason to expect us to go into Lambeau and win a game. And for us to lose by only 3 points, I had us losing by 2. Nick had us losing by 4, I believe, 24-28 or something like that, you said? I had us 22-24. They lost by 3 points. That's right in the middle of what it was. Like, it's it was a good game, man. It was a good game. One thing I didn't like, though, because Taylor wasn't in there, we didn't use the slot wide receiver all night long. Where the fuck was Richie James? Why doesn't Shanahan let this guy get any play? Like, it's crazy to me. I'm watching this game, and thank God I was smart enough to bench Richie James. I had Richie James in all the way up until about 7 p.m. in all of my fantasy leagues. And then I was like, you know what, forget it. And I went and got this guy on the Packers, Valdez, the dude with the hyphen at number 83. And I put him in. I won both of my fantasy leagues. I won one of them by 2 points. The other one I won by like 12, thanks to that guy. But I put him in both of my leagues instead of Richie James. Thank God I did that. Did Richie James get a single target all night long, Nick? Did you see him get anything?
Nah, he just did kickoff returns and punt returns.
And he only got kickoff returns after the fumble by DJ Reed.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that's 2 weeks in a row Reed has fumbled kickoffs. We might not ever see him do that again.
That's fine with me. I'd rather have Richie in there anyway. But
yeah,
I mean,
I like Richie.
I can't defend Richie and why he's not getting passes or play on the offense because obviously he's not doing something in practice. We knew Taylor wasn't playing at all this week, and for him to not even scheme Richie James in, obviously he's not doing something in practice. I mean, it's that simple. I really truly believe that Kyle Shanahan puts the best players that he sees on the field, no matter what they are or who they are, and puts them in the game plan and utilizes them to their full potential.
I think he does too, but I think in crucial times, Kyle Shanahan has a knack, and I don't fault him for this, but he just doesn't call the right plays when the game is on the line. You know what I mean? Like, there's times where I want to see him be more aggressive. Then there's times where I want to see him, bro, just run the ball. We got the lead, just run the ball. When the game is tied up, I want you to go for it some. Like, I saw fans on Twitter saying, remember the 4th and 2? The 4th and 2 on our second to last drive? And if we hadn't have converted it, the Packers would have got the ball back on like their 7-yard line. Fans were saying we should go for that. Why the fuck should we go for that? Like, that didn't make any sense to me. But there are other times in games where I'm like, yo, bro, like, come on, I do want to see him go for it. There's times in the game where he's aggressive, and I'm like, come on, we could have just ran the ball there. I don't want to see his passing on 3rd and 2. You know what I mean? I want to see our offensive line was pounding those guys all night long. Again, I can't pull up the stats here, but I'm willing to bet that the 49ers averaged, I don't know, 6 or 7 yards a carry tonight. I can't pull it up over here, but I'm willing to bet the 49ers averaged at worst 5 yards a carry. We shouldn't be passing the ball on 3rd and 2 and letting CJ Beathard take a sack that he created pressure on.
So Breida was the lowest tonight. He had 14 attempts for 61 yards. He averaged 4.4. Mostert had 12 for 87, averaged 7.3. Beathard averaged 3 for 21 for averages 7, and Marquise Goodwin 1 for 5 for 5 yards.
So 7 and 7 is 14. 4 and 5 is 9. That takes it up to 23. You divide that by 4 guys, 23, right?
It's like 6.8.
Yeah. There's no reason to run the fucking ball on 3rd and 2, bro. It's just not acceptable. It's not cool.
This is a question I had to you. Why was Marquise Goodwin not targeted more in the second half? My man had 4 catches for 126 yards.
Yeah, and 2 of them were touchdowns. 50% of his receptions were touchdowns. I think that Marquise Goodwin was used how I would use him, by the way. Remember when the season started? No, it was before the season started. It was before preseason. You came up with a really good analysis. You said that what's a number 1 wide receiver? It's someone who dictates coverage and manipulates the opposing defense. That was your definition of what a number 1 wide receiver is. Someone who can make plays when they get the ball in their hand and dictates coverage because of it. And you were like, Marquise Goodwin is going to be our number 1 wide receiver this year. It's true. He dictates coverage. And I talked about that early play with Kendrick Bourne, where because the safety stayed up and bit on Goodwin, it allowed Bourne to get open and get a little bit of extra yards. I think that's how they used him the entire second half. I think we got conservative. I think that we felt like, oh my God, we're happy to be in it. Let's just continue to try to keep it close. I wish we played like we were behind. I do wish that we were a bit more aggressive earlier on in the second half, as opposed to just looking like we were happy to be in it. You know what I mean? And that's what I talked about with Kyle Shanahan. This goes back to the play calling. It's the same question that you're asking me right now. You're just focused on one specific player. It's that I wish that we were more aggressive earlier on. You know, even though the score was 23-20, yeah, we got a lead, but let's be aggressive because that's Aaron Rodgers on the other side. 3 points is nothing to Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Let's continue to be aggressive. And he just didn't do it. He just seemed so content, like we got a little bit of a lead. Let's just try to, maintain. No, man, no. Let's go for it. If you had to ask me though, I would have never guessed that CJ Beathard only had 245 passing yards. I would have thought he had more than that tonight.
He had a rating of 115.
Yeah, he had a good game, and that one pick too. And that pick, if there was no pressure on him, I think. All right, so what happened on that play is this is the defender, and this is Marquise Goodwin. And Goodwin had the defender beat, but the pass went over here, so the defender just went to the outside, and that's why it was intercepted. I think if he was able to step into that, he could have thrown it to the right of Marquise Goodwin, and it would have been either an incomplete pass or Goodwin only would have caught it. I mean, it's such a game of inches, man. And if we make that play, we're in field goal range. It's a completely different game now. They're down by 13. I mean, they're down by 10, not just 7. So it's a completely different game. It really is.
Oh yeah, we win that game. I mean, I really thought with 1 minute and 6 seconds left, we were going to win that game.
Yeah.
I mean, with 3 timeouts, 1 minute and 6 seconds, you think that we win that game. But
yeah. I bashed Salah on some of his substitutions. Let me tell you one that I was happy to see him make tonight. Taking out Solomon Thomas for Sheldon Day. I was happy to see that tonight. And again, I like a lot of what Salah does, so I don't want you guys to think that I don't like this guy. I was happy to see Sheldon Day in there instead of Solomon Thomas because that warranted us another sack. Sheldon Day ended up getting one of those sacks, right? I'm pretty sure Sheldon Day was one of the guys. I saw Blair, Buckner, and Day. Buckner had 2, but one got called back by Sherman. And I'm pretty sure those were the 3 sacks that we had tonight. We saw Malcolm Smith getting some pressure tonight. That was a good thing. They're being very, very creative with the blitz packages that they're coming up with. You know what I mean?
The pass rush has been phenomenally different.
Because they're blitzing more, yeah. But when you blitz, like they said during the broadcast, you leave guys out on an island. What was that?
You go to man to man.
Yeah. Yeah, you're leaving guys out on an island, so it's a little bit harder to do. You really have to trust your guys out there. Foster had a pretty good game, other than that one play with him being in coverage on Adams, which I will never fault him for that. That's a mismatch by design. I'm never going to fault him on that. I like what I saw from Fred Warner tonight, except for one play. He had a really bad missed tackle on a play tonight. But I like that duo, man. I think those two are going to be good for a long time.
Warner definitely takes time to warm up.
Yeah, he does.
Like 1 or 2 series, and then he's on fire.
Yeah. Another player who turned the corner tonight, getting back on the right track, this is 2 games in a row now, was Jaquiski Tart. You don't think Tart had a good game tonight?
No. I don't. All right, let me change this. He had ups and downs. It was like one quarter he was good, the next quarter he wasn't. The one quarter he was good, the next quarter he wasn't. Like, it just seems like when he's around the ball to make a tackle, he was just like, he was pulling up, like, and letting somebody else take the tackle. Him and Armstead tonight. Both were doing
I don't believe that. I feel like Tart led the team in tackles tonight. I felt like every time I looked up, he was making a tackle. I can't pull up stats, and I don't know for sure. I feel like Tart probably led the team in tackles tonight.
No, he had 7. He had 7.
Yeah, but was that the most on the team?
No, Foster had 8.
Oh, so he was second. So I'm saying, like, it was. You all right? It's not like that. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't perfect, but he's definitely trending in the right direction. Tart had a very, very rough first couple of weeks of the season, and he's looking a lot better now. These last 2 weeks, Tart has looked a lot better, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked better than he has, but I still don't think he's looking to where his potential should be.
Oh, no. I didn't say he was looking good. I'm saying he's looking better. Better than trash.
You said he looked good, so I don't think he looked good. Like, I think that he played well, but he was still too up and down for me.
Yeah. I tell you what, I can't wait for Witherspoon to get healthy. I want to see Witherspoon back in the mix, man. I'm tired of this shuffling of the secondary that Robert Saleh is doing. I was really, really upset when I thought that he just benched Jimmy Ward for Maben. But now that I know that Jimmy Ward had an injury, it makes sense. He was due. He was overdue. Jimmy Ward should have been injured 2 weeks ago, but he wasn't. But it makes sense now that we found out Jimmy Ward had a hammy, and that's why he was pulled out and Maben went in. And they just targeted the shit out of Maben, man. They really, really did. Ronald Blair had a good game. Eric Armstead was okay. Buckner was okay. And the couple of plays that Solomon Thomas was in, he was even okay. There was a play tonight, and I was like, okay, Solly. Like, I got up and applauded for him a time or two tonight. So it's not like he made a bunch of tackles or anything like that, but I was happy with Solomon Thomas, and I was happy they were pulling him out when it was time to pull him out, not keeping him out there just because he was a first-round pick, putting Sheldon Day out there. I was happy with a lot of the stuff that I saw tonight. I really, really was. I just wish that we could be more consistent, and I wish that we could be more clutch. That's what it is. We don't have that clutch player or gene on this team. That's what's missing. That and a consistent pass rush. If we get those 2 things, we're going to be golden, man. We're going to be golden.
But, I mean, I agree. So where do you think the Niners go from here? Do you think this game makes them worse? Or do you think this game gives them better hopes for next week?
This is going to be one of those games where you remember last year where it was like, oh, the Niners lost 5 games in a row by 3 or less points. We're going to start that right now. We're going to start that. That this is our 5-game stretch right here, where we're going to lose games that we have no chance in. We shouldn't have been competitive in. Everyone expected this to be a blowout. I listened to Packer broadcast all week long, and I told you on the Instagram live video that we did, there was a broadcaster that said if the Packers aren't winning 38-10 going into the fourth quarter and putting in DeShone Kizer, this is a disappointment of a game. Well, fuck you, bro. You guys almost lost this game. You know what I mean? Like that's just disrespectful. But the Niners, according to the pundits, had no business in here. Even according to Vegas, we were 9.5 dogs. That was tied for the highest this week. We only lost by 3, and it took everything in the Packers' arsenal to do it. So this team is better than what people are giving us credit for, but we want to lose these games if we're not going to make the playoffs because we want a high draft pick. So it's too early for me to just talk about the draft, but I also understand the big picture. You know what I mean? Every game we win is just going to be counterproductive to us drafting a good player. Or a better player, assuming that we just don't go with whoever Stanford has on the board at the time, and we can make the right pick.
Yeah, go figure. I mean, I think I took a lot of good away tonight from this team, but I still think we're missing that, like you said earlier, that leadership type role. Somebody that's going to be able to step up and take control of this defense. I know Sherman tried to do it tonight, but Sherman's only one guy. The defensive line is coming into its own. I think it's starting to fill its role of what people are supposed to do. I'd like to see Blair on the edge more.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You have the stats pulled up over there?
I did, yeah, I can.
Oh, you don't have it anymore?
I got him. Go ahead. What's up?
I want to know what Alfred Morris finished the night with. I remember him getting a carry.
Yeah, he's not even on here, actually.
I wonder if there was a penalty on that play, and we accepted the penalty.
He's not even on here. Yeah, there was a penalty. It was like a 3-yard carry, and it was on a hold. There was a hold.
Oh, okay. So they accepted the penalty. That's why I wiped. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. Next week's gonna be a long week.
Why?
I'm just saying it's gonna be a long week till we get to game day. Like with this type of loss, it's disheartening.
So we didn't get to do a keys to victory this week on here on YouTube, but we did a quick one on Instagram. But one of the things I didn't get to say was that Kyle Shanahan's going to put up points in this game because he and Pettin were on the same staff in Cleveland, so he was familiar with Pettin's style of defense. Kyle Shanahan is definitely going to put up 30 points. The flip side to that, do we play the Rams next week?
Yes.
I think that we're going to have one of our better defensive showings next week.
Bro, your computer is about shot.
Huh?
Whatever you're on is shot. I keep getting like...
I've been on my phone.
Well, I keep getting like... It looks like an old... Can you see it?
I just see you.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like an old computer screen of some sort, blacked out, greened out, whatever. But anyway, yeah,
all right, well,
I totally
I'll
agree.
put my image up. I got you. I'll put my image up, and then I'll just finish off. We're gonna wrap this thing up here, but I'll put my image up there, okay? People can see Patrick Willis when I speak instead. But what I was gonna say was that I knew that Kyle Shanahan was gonna put up points in this game because he played against that Pettin defense for 2 years in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I think our defense is going to have one of their best games of the year next week against the Rams because they play against the same exact offense that Sean McVay calls, which is Kyle Shanahan's. They play against that every week. So I'm not saying we're going to win, but we're going to be this is again where we're going to start that. Oh, the Niners won or the Niners lost 5 games in a row by 3 or less points. It's going to start right now. That's what I think is going to happen.
I agree. I don't really have anything else for this week. I'm excited to see what we actually do with the Rams next week, man. Hopefully this makes us more hungry and we come out and play harder, even harder next week, and we can put it all together for a full 60 minutes instead of a 59.55.
Yeah.
So
shout out to all the people who took their time out to watch us tonight. All the commenters and everything, you guys keeping the chat room live and going and popping over there. We really appreciate that, guys. The people who are watching tonight, I give you guys a special salute because the faithfuls are falling by the wayside. We gained mad followers at the start of the season when the Jimmy Garoppolo hype was real. And then as soon as he got injured, all the viewers and everything went down. People started quitting on the 49ers. They started quitting on the people who were doing the broadcast for the 49ers and all that kind of shit. So I respect you guys that are out here and still holding us down, still coming through to talk 49ers with us, man. I definitely appreciate all that stuff. You guys are the real fans. 100% love you guys out there, man. Keep up the good work, guys. You guys stay faithful, win, lose, or not. Whatever the case is, we're going to continue to watch and talk about this team. We don't mean we got to be happy about what we're seeing, but we're still living and bleeding this thing over here. So I love you guys, man. For real, for real. I respect you guys a lot.
yeah, definitely.
I see a comment in here that says, I can't blame them. It's hard to watch. It's not hard to watch. We were winning majority of that game. What was hard to watch about that? We literally lost that game on the last drive.
No, that game was one of the funnest games I watched all year.
Exactly. A game that we weren't supposed to win, supposed to lose by 2 scores, and it was hard to watch. Come on, man. Be better than that. But, guys, anyway, I do appreciate what you guys are doing. So keep up the good work.
I got one thing just to say, just to clear up this whole Khalil Mack stuff, guys.
Khalil Mack?
Yeah, there's so many comments about how John Lynch and them couldn't pull the trigger on Khalil Mack.
Oh, fuck out of here, man.
So Khalil Mack was offered the same exact, or the Raiders were offered the same exact offer that Chicago offered, but John Gruden and the Raiders organization said they were not trading him across the bay to an AFC team or I forget what Ian Rappaport said. There was one more team or in division. It was in division, an AFC team or across the bay. Chicago's not on their schedule this year. The Niners are. They weren't gonna trade away a player into the California area where they're leaving. And then that also continued to nag on John Gruden for trading a franchise player to a Bay Area team and then leaving the Bay. Like, you guys got to put all this together. Like, Ian Rappaport came out and said this. The Niners offered the exact same offer for Khalil Mack that Chicago did.
Very similar. Yeah. Very similar compensation.
Yeah. So stop with the whole John Lynch can't pull the trigger, because John Lynch had tried to get players and the offers just weren't accepted.
I'll be honest with you. To go along with what Nick is saying, I have heard and seen that John Lynch is in on trade offers that I didn't even think that the Niners would make offers on. They figured there's 2 things that they go into it with. Is he someone that could fit our system? And if the answer is yes, they make offers. Doesn't mean that it's going to be accepted. Just because you make an offer doesn't mean it's going to be accepted. And guess what? We can make a better offer than a team, and they still turn that down and go with someone else because the player has to agree to it also. So, yeah, Nick, you're absolutely right, bro.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get that out of there in case the fans that are watching don't know what happened. But other than that, man, make sure you guys hit that subscribe and like button. Make sure you set the bell for notifications to let you know when we're going live. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, both Nothing But Niners on the group page and the Instagram page. Nothing But 9ERS on Twitter and Snapchat. You can find me on Twitter at 49er Faithful 365. Mike, go ahead and give your Twitter handle where you can be followed.
49ers Mike underscore NF. NF as in Niners fan. 49ers Mike underscore NF. Give me a follow, guys.
Yeah, guys. And look, man, I know we lost tonight, but there were some things we could take away from this. Guys, we're competing with some top tier players, quarterbacks. I'm not going to say the entire Green Bay Packers organization is top tier, but we went up against one of the best quarterbacks to play in the game right now. Tonight, we held him to 33 points. We also held them for like 3 of 13 on third down conversions. So there are things to look up for, and we're also injured right now. I mean,
we did that. Yeah, exactly. We did that without our franchise quarterback, our number one running back, a hobbled Pierre Garçon, our number 3 wide receiver in Dante Pettis not even being active, a beat up offensive line, defensive players in and out of the mix. No Akello Witherspoon, who's supposed to be our number 2 corner. We lost Jimmy Ward at the end of it. Tart and Colbert playing injured. Come on, man. And we're competing in these games. This is literally all you can ask for. This is it. This is as good as it's going to get. And for people to sit here and be ungrateful and be unhappy about it, and oh my God, fire this guy, fire that guy. Blah, blah, blah. No, come on, man. As much as I'm blaming Saleh for this loss in particular, I don't want to see Saleh fired. I'm not calling for his head. I'm good. Like we gotta be real, man. Like we gotta stop pretending like we're supposed to go in here and go 16-0. That's not reality, guys. We want it. That's not reality. Think about it this way. This is what I say all the time. When we discuss who's going to win and who's going to lose, if I had to bet my mortgage on it, if your livelihood depended on it, if you're wrong about your decision, you're going to be living on the streets. Who are you picking? That's how I tell the truth about that. I can give you a million reasons for every game how and why the 49ers should win. And that's why we do Keys to Victory. But when it comes down to it, you have to be honest with yourself. Is this team competing for a playoff spot? No, not this year. All we can hope for, the best solution, the best scenario is that we are competing and we lose games by not getting blown out. That's exactly what you got tonight. It took everything in the Packers' arsenal to get this win. That's what you want to see from this team.
Yep, exactly. We were pieces away. Even with Garoppolo and McKinnon, we were pieces away from being on a Super Bowl run. So, guys, just cut us some slack, man. Just be faithful. Continue to bleed red and gold. You can be upset. I can be upset. I know I'm going to lose. I'm going to be angry all week just because we lost. That's because I'm a faithful. But we definitely played our hearts out tonight. We did give up the last minute of the game, but it'll all come together sooner or later. So, but guys, man, thanks for joining in. As always, make sure you follow us on all of our social media avenues. Check out nothingbutniners.com if you didn't catch what those social media avenues were. And that's it for me, man. Mike, you got anything else?
Prepare for glory. Anticipate pain, because we're getting a lot of it. But always remain faithful. I got nothing else.
We out of here.